Every who down in Whoville liked Christmas so gone.
But the Grinch who lived just north of Whoville did not.
The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why, no one quite knows the reason.
It could be his head was screwed on just right. It could be perhaps his shoes were too tight.
But I think the most likely reason of all might have been his heart was too size is too small.
But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood on Christmas Eve hating the Who.
Staring down from his cave with a sour mercy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every who nailed in Whoville, who down in Whoville beneath was busy now, hanging on some clothing.
And they're hanging their stockings.
He snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow is Christmas is practically here.
And he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming.
Let's find some way to stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow he knew.
All the Who girls and boys would wake up bright early and they'd rush for their toys. And then,
oh the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated.
noise.
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 Then the who's young and old would sit down to a feast.
And then feast.
And they'd feast. And they'd feast.
Feast. Feast.
Feast!
They would feast on food pudding and rare and roast beef.
Which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least.
And then they'd do something he liked least of all.
Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and small, would stand close together with the Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand.
And the Who's would start singing.
They'd sing. And they'd sing.
And they'd
sing. 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 And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought.
I'm gonna stop this whole thing while for 53 years I put up with it now. I'm gonna stop Christmas from coming. But how?
Then he got an idea.
An awful idea.
The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. To know what to do.
Grinch laughed in his throat.
And he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat.
He chuckled and clapped.
What a great Grinchy chick with this hat and this coat. I look just like St. Nick. All I do is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found.
Did that stop the old Grinch?
No.
The Grinch simply said.
Can't find a reindeer, so I'll make one instead.
So he called his dog Max.
And then he took some red thread and tied a big horn on top of his head. Then he loaded some bags
And some old empty sacks.
on a ramshackle sleigh.
And he hitched up old Max.
Then the Grinch said,
Giddy up.
and the sleigh started down toward the homes of the Who's latest news in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air. All the Who's were all dreaming, so James without care.
When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1.
The old Grinchy Claus hissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags in his fist.
When he slid down the chimney, a robber-type pinch.
But if Santa could do it,
And so could the Grinch.
He got stuck only once for a moment or two.
He stuck his head out the fireplace flue where the little Who stockings hung in a row.
These stockings.
He grinned.
And the first things to go. Then he slittered and slucked with a smile most unpleasant.
Around the whole room and took every present. Pop guns, bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn.
And guns.
And he stuffed them in bags.
Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney.
Then he slid to the icebox. He took the Who's feast.
He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beef.
He cleaned out that icebox as quick as a flash.
But the Grinch even took the last can of Who hash.
Then he stuffed all the food at the chimney with glee.
And now,
grinned the Grinch.
I'll stuff up the tree.
And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard the small sound like the coo of a dove.
He turned around fast and he saw a small Who.
Little Cindy Lou Who.
Who was no more than 2.
the Grinch had one caught a tiny blue daughter who got out of bed for a cool cup of water.
She stared at the Grinch and said,
Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?
But you know that the old Grinch was so smart and so slick. He thought up a lie.
he thought it up quick.
Well, my sweet little tot,
The fake Santa Claus lied.
there's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to our workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there and I'll bring it back here.
And his fib fooled the child.
Then he patted her head, he got her a drink and sent her to bed.
And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went to the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was their log for the fire. And he went up the chimney himself, gold wires. On their walls stood nothing but hooks and some wire.
And the one speck of food that he left off with in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse.
Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses. They were crumbs much too small for the other Who's mouses.
It was dawn.
All the Who's still abed.
Although who still snooze?
When he packed up his sled, packed it up with their presents.
The ribbons.
The wrappings. The tags.
And the tinsel.
The trimmings.
The trappings.
3,000 feet up at the side of Mount Crumpet.
He rode with his load to the tip top to dump it.
Hoo hoo to the hoods.
He was grinchishly humming.
They're fighting out now to know Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know what they will do. Their mouths will hang open for a minute or two. All the who's down in Hugo will cry, boo-hoo! That's a noise
From the Grinch.
that I must simply hear.
So he paused and the Grinch put his hands to his ear, and he did hear the sound rising over the snow.
It started in low.
Then it started to grow.
But the sound wasn't sad.
But the sound turned merry.
It couldn't be so.
But it was merry.
Very.
He stared down at Whoville,
The Grinch popped his eyes.
then he shook.
What a shocking surprise.
Every who down his table that telling the smell was singing.
Without any presents at all.
He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came.
Somehow or another, it came just the same.
And the Grinch with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow.
Stood puzzling and puzzling.
How could it be so? It came without ribbon, it came without tags. Came without packages, boxes, or bags.
And he puzzled 3 hours till his muscular was sore.
Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before.
Maybe Christmas
He thought.
doesn't come from the store. Maybe Christmas perhaps means a little bit more.
And then what happened? And what happened then?
Well, in Whoville, they say that the Grinch smelled her three sizes that day.
And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whisked with his load through the bright morning light.
And brought back the toys.
And the food for the feast.
And he.
He himself.
The Grinch carved the roast feast.
The end.
Oh, boy.